National Signing Day is over now. It is, you know, February 5th, Thursday, February 5th, in the year of our Lord 2026. National Signing Day is over. Technically, it's been over because there really wasn't much action on a National Signing Day yesterday. It was all in the early signing period, which we had our discussion on this past Tuesday. Go and give that episode a watch. But it's 295, episode 295 of Pigskin Frenzy. So we're going to recap National Signing Day, early National Signing Day, all the way up until February. We're going to talk about the top 10. We're going to discuss that. We're going to see who won National Signing Day, who lost National Signing Day. We're going to discuss some of the moves and the commits and signees that I like heading into the 2026 season as well. Guys, we're pumped. We're fired up. Welcome to Pigskin Frenzy on this beautiful Thursday afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Joel Norris, and whether you're watching on YouTube, listening on Spotify, Podbean, or Apple, a big thank you for taking some time out of your Thursday to just sit back, watch, and listen to some college ball coverage presented by me. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like each episode, leave comments down below. Spotify, Podbean, and Apple. All you got to do is just share around with others and follow on there as well. X on Instagram is at pigskin_frenzy, and the website is www.pigskinfrenzy.weebly.com. We are super fired up. I mean, man, we have 6,500, about to be 6,600 listeners all time across all audio platforms, and we just got to 83,000 channel views on YouTube. A big thank you, because without you guys, we would not be doing this. We would not be in college football media. We would not be doing Pigskin Frenzy. And for you guys tuning in each and every Tuesday and Thursday, we cannot thank you enough. We are super fired up for you guys tuning in each and every week so we can just deliver you college football content for you guys. Not only that, we cannot be more grateful for our Lord and Savior Jesus. Without him, we would not be in college football media. We would not be blessed to be spreading his name across all platforms. That's the most important thing. Letting everybody know that Jesus is Lord and let him be the Savior of your life. That is the most important thing in this world. So, guys, if you don't know Jesus and you want to come to know Jesus, X and Instagram is at Pigskin_frenzy. Follow, like the pages there, and you can contact me there. Not only that, the website is www.pigskinfrenzy.weebly.com. If you want to come to know him, you can contact me at the Home and About Me page on the website. It's the best decision you can ever make in your life, coming to know Jesus as Lord of all. We would not be here without him. So we give him all the praise, and we glorify his name across all platforms. Guys, college football recruiting, National Signing Day. I said that the aura has been lost. I've said that for I've been thinking that for the longest time. I just kind of revealed that on Tuesday's episode. So, yeah, it's been lost. There was 2 guys that signed, but we're going to mainly talk about the overall aspect of it. So we're not really complaining about anything. We're still going to talk about National Signing Day in an overall aspect. Who finished in what class? Who finished what ranking? Who were the surprises? Who were the losers, the winners? Who were, the ones that surprised me the most? And we're going to talk about some of the signees that I liked and that will probably get some playing time here this season in 2026. We're super fired up. We're ready to rock and roll. And speaking of the guys who could get some playing time in 2026, let's talk about the moves that I've liked, who signed with where. And we have it on our monitor here, right? So we're super fired up. The number one player in according to 24/7 Sports and in their composite rankings, the number one composite player in the top 2026 top college ball recruits for high school was Keyshawn Henderson. He's at quarterback. He's a 5-star quarterback, and he signed with Houston. So he's committed and signed with Houston. He signed early, like everybody else. Everybody else has signed early. He signed early in early December, but we know that Connor Wingman is going to be the starting quarterback for the Houston Cougars with Willie Fritz. I wholeheartedly believe that. But this signing further develops that, hey, the quarterback room in Houston is looking very bright. Keyshawn Henderson will most likely start after Connor Wingman leaves in 2026. Wingman's in his final year of eligibility to stay unless Henderson decides to enter the portal. I don't know if he will or not. We'll see. But he will most likely be the starting quarterback in 2027 for the Houston Cougars, which, if you can keep him, that's going to be great for Houston. I mean, Houston's a team that, honestly, it's pre-spoiler before June, I kind of value Houston going into the 2026 season, honestly. I think a lot of people should be paying attention to them. I said this last June that Houston's going to be a team they'll be okay, but they won't be, go above and beyond, which, in my opinion, I was wrong. I think they exceeded expectations. So I think in June, I'm going to rank them properly, and properly meaning they could be in the top 10, most likely. So maybe closer to the top 5 spot. Who knows? I think Houston's a very good team and has a shot at being a really good team in 2026. With the Keyshawn Henderson signing, the future at the quarterback position is very bright for the Cougars. Jared Curtis most likely will start. He's the number 2 ranked composite player in the rankings according to 24/7 Sports for the 2026 overall high school recruiting class. Jared Curtis, 5-star quarterback, was originally committed to Georgia until Vanderbilt flipped him. Vanderbilt flipped a Georgia recruit. A while. They pretty much said, get in the locker. We are going to take this from here. And Vanderbilt got a really good one in Jared Curtis. He's replacing Diego Pavia. I would assume that he will start day one. He's got the talent to start day one. I think Keyshawn Henderson has the talent to start day one. But I think Jared Curtis is going to start day one. I think the room there is a little bit more, I wouldn't say thin, but more thin than Houston at least. And I think that Jared Curtis will get the nod there. 6'3", 225 pounds, 5-star quarterback out of Nashville, Tennessee, hometown kid, and he will most likely start for Vanderbilt. I think Jared Curtis has got a really good shot at breaking out early. We're going to see what happens. I don't think they're going to be, phenomenal by no means yet. I think Vanderbilt's lost some key players, but give it some time. Let's see what Clark Lee can do. I want to see what Clark Lee can do without a Diego Pavia, without a Eli Stowers. I want to see what Clark Lee can do and how he can manage Jared Curtis at quarterback there. So those are some of the signings that I like. Obviously, Lamar Brown, athlete. He's going to most likely play defensive tackle out of Baton Rouge. He signed with LSU. He's a 5-star player. And he's a really good pickup for LSU. He's going to add tremendous speed and depth. And he is going to be a problem for the offensive linemen whoever plays LSU on their schedule coming up this year. So I expect him to play right away. I think another offensive problem or defensive offensive tackle for the defense. This guy can cause some problems for the defense as well. Is Kenai Pope from Florida. He went to IMG Academy, 6'7", 320 pounds, 5-star. He was signed to USC. Really good offensive lineman. That Lincoln Riley put up for USC. We're going to talk about USC here in a little bit, but that's a really good signee there as well. So I liked some of those moves. Those are some of the moves that I've liked. One more before we move on. One move that I liked was Rodney Dunham. He is a 5-star, 6'4", 227-pound edge rusher. He is signed to Notre Dame. Notre Dame picked him up. He's from Charlotte, North Carolina. Myers Parks. I like him for Notre Dame. I think he's going to be a really good edge rusher for Notre Dame. I really do. I think the Irish and Marcus Freeman picked up a good one there. He's elusive, he's fast, and he's going to be a really good player for the Irish. So I really liked how they picked him up. Carter Meadows, the edge rusher, from Washington, D.C., he signed with Michigan. Really good retaining and pickup for Kyle Whittingham and the Wolverines there. I like that one as well. So those are some of the moves that I liked as well from this class, and I think they're going to be dynamic for their team for the next 3 to 4 years if they don't enter the portal and before they go to the NFL, 3 to 4 years. So those are some of the pickups that I like and some of the things that some of the players that I think are going to break out probably potentially this season and in the near future. So those are some of the players that I liked there. So let's talk about the top 10, and we're going to talk about who – some of the top 10, obviously, we're going to talk about who won the recruiting National Signing Day and who lost National Signing Day. We're also going to discuss a little bit who was the shocker, who was the surprise, not really just a surprise, and who could have just done better overall. So we're going to talk about the overall scoop of things here for National Signing Day as we recap it. So those guys all signed early, but I really like those pickups. So top 10. We have a new number one, non-SEC number one. For the first time in 18 years, a non-SEC team is the number one recruiting class in 2026 and in college football. So the number one recruiting class in college football was the USC Trojans. A lot of people weren't going to expect that, but here we are. Not only that, for the first time in 20 years, it's a non-SEC team. Not 20 years. First time in 20 years, this is USC, right? USC, for the first time in 20 years, has the number one recruiting class. The first time in 18 years, it's a non-SEC team. The last non-SEC team to do it was Miami in 2008. But for the first time in 20 years, USC is the number one recruiting class. We're going to get on that here in a little bit. Number 2, Alabama. Alabama consistently in the top 5, even after Nick Saban gone. Alabama number 2. They finished number 2 in recruiting. Number 3 is Oregon. Dan Lanning picking up another heck of a recruiting class. Number 4, Ohio State. Number 5, Notre Dame. We're going to talk about Notre Dame here in a little bit. It's just been coming up in my mind. Number 6 is Georgia. Number 7 is Texas. Number 8 is Tennessee. Number 9 is Miami. And then to round up the top 10, it is Texas A&M. So that's number 10. And then just the 3 teams right outside of the top 10 at 11, 12, and 13 are LSU at 11, Michigan at 12, and Washington at 13. So kind of the honorable mentions are just right outside the top 10 there. A&M finishes and rounds up the top 10. So USC number 1, which is very interesting. I think making moves there, the number 1 recruiting class out of everybody in college football. And like I said, first non-SEC team to have, to be the number 1 recruiting class since 2008 in 18 years. So, and this is USC's first number 1 recruiting class in 20 years. So, big deal. Huge deal for Lincoln Riley securing the number 1 recruiting class. Obviously, they spent a lot of NIL money. I think everybody really spent a lot of NIL money on these classes. You got to. It's the name of the game in high school recruiting and in recruiting in general. It's NIL with a portal and everything. So high school transfer doesn't matter. You spend NIL money, you spend the dollars. You have to. That's just the way everything works now. So good spending, obviously. But and honestly, when you look at it, it's not even close point-wise. It's an 8-point differential, composite point differential between USC and Alabama. Alabama was number 2. USC was number 1, 310 to 302, an 8-point differential. And then you get number 2 and 3 very close. You get 302.91 and then 302.47 between Alabama and Oregon. So it's a sizable difference between number 1 with USC and Alabama at number 2. But USC spent a lot of good dollars on this, yes, but now it's really one of those things, despite having the number 1 recruiting class, what are you going to do? Okay, so last year, I was on the Texas train. I still am. I think Texas is going to be going into August. In my way too early predictions, I know it's way too early. February, August is about 7 months away. I would like to think that Texas is probably going to be top 5, preseason top 5, entering the 2026 season. That's just me. I'm not saying that about USC. Last year, I was on the Texas train because Texas had the number 1 recruiting class last year. All right, so what are they going to do with it? They ended up, making the Citrus Bowl. They ended up winning the Citrus Bowl, but they were supposed to go to the playoff. They ended up losing their Ohio State and Georgia and Florida. They ended up losing 3 games, and then you're like, I thought you were going to go to the playoffs. They ended up not making the playoffs. They just weren't how we expected them to be. USC, I said that the goal for USC last year was at least 8 to 9 wins, and they achieved that. Lincoln Riley achieved what I said that he probably needed to achieve. I didn't think they were going to make the playoffs. I honestly thought that last year was a huge success. I really did. For USC this year, for this go-around for USC, I believe, that's just me, I believe that this is kind of a make it or break it year a little bit. Yes, you went 8 or 9 wins, okay? You got 8 or 9 wins last year. That was the expectation. I think the expectation should be a little bit above that. You came just short in a college ball playoff eliminator, technically, with Oregon, and Oregon beat y'all for that. And then Oregon ended up going to the playoff after that. Shout out to, George Reister for this video because I commented on a post that he posted on X the other day from the Unafraid Show. My good friend George Reister from the Unafraid Show, my guy, shout out him. He's the man. He talked about that, how this was a make it or break it year for Lincoln Riley. Technically, in the caption it was, maybe it's time to put up or shut up. Right? I think I'm gonna have to agree. I think this year may be a put up or shut up year. I'm not saying win it all, but I would at least say it may be time to make the playoff. You know what I mean? It may be time to make the playoff now. You have the number one recruiting class. You spent a lot of money doing that. Not only that, you have the quarterback in Jaden Maiava. You're replacing some talent at the receiving spot, but don't worry, you still got some of that depth. You're adding a lot of depth with the number one recruiting class. Your NIL's there. The resources are there. Are in place this year. I think you can go make a run. Maybe not in a national title. I mean, who knows? They may make another run in a national title. I'm not saying that. Who am I to say anything? I'm just saying that I think this may be the year where we look and think USC probably should make the playoff. I think 2026 can be that year. I really do. So we'll see what happens with USC. Alabama's number 2. Alabama, number 2, good recruiting class. We'll see what they can do. I am curious to see how they respond because they made the playoff last year. They made the Rose Bowl, got beat up pretty good. Can Kalen DeBoer, he made a second season, made the SEC championship. Can they find a way to win the SEC, probably make a deeper run, and most likely try to go to a national championship and bring them back to prominence? We can see there. Number 3, Oregon. I've already talked about Oregon. I mean, really, what else can you say about Dan Lanning? He can recruit really well at the highest level, both portal-wise and high school recruiting-wise. When is it going to be their year? There's going to be a year where, like I said, we snap our fingers and say it's Oregon's year. We will see. Ohio State, number 4. Ohio State, to me, they have a schedule coming up that's very tough. It is not impossible at all for them to lose at least 3 to 4 games. You look at that and you're thinking, we'll see what happens. Good recruiting class, but Arthur Smith is the OC. We can move on. We can talk about that one at another time. I don't know about that hire. That's just me personally. Number 5 is Notre Dame. Notre Dame's a tricky one because they are very talented. A top 5 recruiting class for Marcus Freeman. Marcus Freeman is a phenomenal coach, phenomenal head coach. Not only a phenomenal head coach, recruiting very well, highest level. My deal is this with Marcus Freeman. I don't know when it's going to be, but I think it's coming soon. I think he's got really the talent and the coaching ability to win a national championship there. Honestly, I expect them to be top 5 going into 2026. I really do. I expect them to be in the top 5, preseason top 5, entering week 1 of the 2026 season. Way too early, I know. Would not shock me if they're number 1 to start the season. Would not shock me. I think a lot of people are going to think, whoa, dude, settle down. It wouldn't shock me if Notre Dame was number 1, honestly. Really. I think they're talented enough. I think C.J. Carr coming back, I think he's going to be a lot better this year. They're bringing some guys back. They're bringing Greathouse back. I think that they're going to be a team to watch out for going in as that number 1 spot in the preseason in August. So let's just wait. But number 5 recruiting class is really good for Notre Dame. And then you got Georgia at 6, Texas at 7, Tennessee at 8, Miami at 9, Texas A&M at 10, Mike Elko finishing out for Texas A&M with another solid recruiting class. So overall, that's really the top 10 of it all. Now, we can go over the winners, go over the losers, and who I think surprised me. I'll tell you the winners, obviously, was USC, Notre Dame, Alabama, Oregon. Obviously, the whole top 5 are winners. I'll say Tennessee is a surprise and a winner. I'll get to that here in a little bit. USC doing what no one else has done the past 18 years, and that's unseat an SEC team as the number 1 recruiting class. It's pretty phenomenal. And what a run by the SEC for having 18 straight years of a team as an SEC team being the number 1 recruiting class is pretty remarkable as a conference. And then you got Notre Dame at 5 building another recruiting class that's, top 5 worthy. And not only that, they're adding more depth to the positions that they already have filled coming up for the 2026 season. They're stacking a team that could probably make a run at a title. And I would watch out for Notre Dame. I'm a little bit high on Notre Dame this year, I think. I think Notre Dame's, their schedule might be a little bit favorable, sure, but I'm really high on them. So I think they're the winners as well. So USC, Notre Dame, I think Tennessee is a surprise and a winner. I really didn't think Tennessee was going to be a top 10 recruiting class. high school wise, but they are number 8. They finished number 8 in high school recruiting in the top 10. So a huge win for Josh Heupel in Tennessee for finishing number 8. Got some good recruits in there. The quarterback situation, we know Joey Aguilar is looking for another year of eligibility to come back to Tennessee. We're going to see what happens there. It's either going to be him or George McIntyre starting and taking the reins at quarterback. But getting guys like Tristan Keys at the receiver position, who is a part of this recruiting class, helps them out a lot on offense. I think number 8's a really good finish for Tennessee and Josh Heupel. Really good class and really good, strong way to end the 2026 cycle. So good for them. They're the winner. They're a winner and a surprise as well. So good on them, honestly. I think if we're talking about really, I wouldn't say loss, right? I would say losers, I guess, right? But I thought Clemson was going to do a little bit more. So if we're going to talk about those were the winners, let's talk about the losers. I think losers would be Clemson. I really do. I mean, Clemson, yes, they finished in the top 20. They're number 20 to be exact in the composite ranking for 24/7 Sports. Yeah, they finished 20 and in the top 20, which is good, but not I was expecting more out of Clemson, recruiting-wise. I think recruiting-wise, I was expecting more out of them because of how well they've done previously, but I just feel like Clemson overall, recruiting-wise, the state of it is just getting I want to say worse is the right word, but yeah, we could say that. Worse is the right word for that. I feel like they're not they need to utilize the aspects of recruiting now, and that which is NIL, and they're not utilizing NIL, and they're not utilizing how it should be done now, how recruiting should be done now. And I get it. NIL is the big component of that, and they're not utilizing that. So I wish that they would try to utilize it a little bit more, preach their program more, and don't get left behind. I really like Dabo. I really like Clemson. I just don't want them to get left behind. That's all. And that's why I consider this class, number 20, a loss, especially with how they kind of really need a good finish, shortly, right? So number 20 is Clemson. Honestly, if you want to look at another loss for me, I thought Syracuse could have done a lot better as well. I know it's Syracuse. Don't get me wrong. Syracuse is really good. 34 is really good. I thought that Syracuse could have done a lot better as well. I know I think they had a better one last year, maybe, than they did last year. I can look, but I thought Syracuse could have done a lot better. I really done. Top 35, which is good, but I thought Syracuse could have done a lot better. So Syracuse is one. If you want to look at another loss for me, who I thought did okay, but probably could have done and needed a little bit better. There's a lot better to me. I honestly thought, this is crazy to think, I thought Ole Miss could have done a lot better recruiting-wise as well. I mean, number 22, Ole Miss finishes in the CFP semifinal. They did really good there. Top 25 in recruiting is good. I thought Ole Miss could have done a lot better, at least going into the top 15, maybe to crack the top 15 in recruiting this go-around. I really did. I think Ole Miss could have done a lot better. I'm surprised Ole Miss, I consider that a loss as well. I thought Ole Miss could have done a lot better in recruiting. So those are some of my losers. Those are some of my winners heading in. Here's my surprise. If you want to talk about my surprises of recruiting, of the recruiting cycle, I think North Carolina is a surprise, finishing at number 18. That's a surprise for me. I was critical about their transfer portal class last Thursday on Pigskin Frenzy. I'm not as critical as their high school recruiting. I thought they did really well. I thought they did a lot better than I thought they would. I thought they were going to be worse off. Number 18, it's not the best, obviously. It's not the top 15, but it's inside the top 20, and it's not bad. It's not terrible for North Carolina. So I actually kind of ended stronger than I thought they would. So surprise to me is North Carolina and Bill Belichick in the high school race. I thought Florida finished better than I thought they would. But I'm not doubting John Summerall because I think John Summerall is a phenomenal head coach. They finished right outside the top 15 at number 16. Florida is in there. So that's a surprise to me. I'm surprised Florida finished where they were at. I think a surprise to me in a good way is Washington. I didn't think Washington was going to be 13, but Washington is right outside, like really just teetering close to the top 10 in high school recruiting. So Jed Fish and the Huskies are doing some work in recruiting. So I'm very surprised in a good way that Washington finished number 13 in the recruiting cycle. Another one, like I said, Tennessee, number 8. I am shocked that they finished in the top 10 in high school recruiting. Really strong way to finish out for Josh Heupel. They got some key recruits in there to push them all the way up into number 8. So I'm surprised they finished at number 8 as well. So good on them there. If you want to look at a surprise in a not so good sense on who I'm surprised who did well. I'm surprised who did not do well. Or not really did not do well, but I thought they were going to be a little bit higher than they were. Honestly, I thought SMU was going to be a little bit higher than they were. Honestly, I thought Rhett Lashley and SMU was going to be a little bit higher than they were at, but finishing at number 27 in high school recruiting, I thought that they were going to be a little bit better. That's just me, a little bit better. I really did. That's a surprise to me that they finished down there. I'm surprised where BYU finished. I thought BYU was going to finish in the top 15. I really did. I thought BYU had a good class last year. I felt that they were going to keep up with it and have a better, even stronger class coming in this year at top 15. And they didn't. They finished at 21. I'm shocked that they did, honestly. I think those two right there surprised me in a not so interesting way there. To me, I just felt like they could have been a lot better. Here's one more that I am surprised at in a good way, very good way. That's Mississippi State at number 24. They weren't that way last year. Mississippi State last year was in the 30s. They cracked the top 25. They finished in top 25 in recruiting. For Mississippi State, that's very good. That is very good. Jeff Levy is showing right now that he can recruit. And he is showing that the classes are starting to get a little bit better and better each year. So keep relying on it and keep trusting. They made it to a bowl game last year. Let's see if they can get more than just 5 wins. Let's see if they can get up to 6 to 7 wins, maybe even more. 24 is a really good place to finish for high school recruiting for Mississippi State. What they're doing in Starkville, I would not underline it. I would not underestimate what they're doing. Kamario Taylor at quarterback, solid quarterback led by him, going to be a sophomore. We'll see how it happens there for State, but that's a really good way to finish for Mississippi State, honestly. Surprised as they finish in the top 25, so good on them there. So those are who won and who lost. Those are my surprises. Those were the signees that I really, really liked. So I pretty much covered everything about high school recruiting and recap National Signing Day here on Pigskin Frenzy. But I will say this. The teams that I would watch out for, really that I'm interested in right now the most, if you want to talk about it, really are the rival schools that, it's a travesty they're not playing each other. Notre Dame and USC, who I'm really focused on. I'm focused on to see, and the biggest questions after this really are, number one, is USC going to be able to have okay, let's go make a run. You come just short each and every time. Are we going to be able to make a run at this and try to make the playoffs? Or are you going to fall just short again? Because after that, the recruiting classes and everything starting to mean very little. So that's one. Number two, okay, top 5 consistently in recruiting. Can Notre Dame try to make a run as well? How close are they to making a run? And I think they're very close. I'm dropping my pen. I think they're very close. I think Notre Dame is close to making a run at it. And I think they're showing that right now. I think they are starting to show we're close. We're close at this. Maybe we can finally win it all and bring a title to South Bend. So we're going to see what happens there. We're going to see what's going to happen coming up in 2026. But that is my National Signing Day recap. Guys, that is really all I have for today's episode of Pigskin Frenzy. Guys, a big thank you for taking some time out of your Thursday to just sit back, watch, and listen to some college ball coverage presented by me. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like this episode, leave comments down below. Spotify, Podbean, and Apple. All you got to do is just share around with others and follow on there as well. X and Instagram is at Pigskin_Frenzy. Follow like the pages there. You're going to get episode updates, news, and highlights from across college football, and more on X and Instagram for Pigskin Frenzy. Guys, the website's www.pigskinfrenzy.weebly.com. Guys, a huge thank you for tuning in each and every Tuesday and Thursday for Pigskin Frenzy. We could not do this show without you guys, and we could not do this show without our Lord and Savior Jesus. We give him all the praise, and we give him all the glory for just letting us just talk about college football and just to be in college football media. Guys, we will be back on Tuesday. And for Tuesday, it's going to be great because we have our top 50 games of the 2025 season. Frenzy's top 50 college football games of the 2025 season, starting with 50 through 41, and we're going to count that down for the next few weeks. So 50 through 41 on Tuesday. Cannot wait for that. You're going to love it. I'm pumped. I know you've been waiting for it, and we are going to run it down on Tuesday. 50 through 41 on Tuesday. Guys, Super Bowl is this weekend. I'll make a quick prediction. I think the Seahawks are going to win. Y'all can at me later. The Seahawks are probably going to win 28-14. That's my score for the Super Bowl. So enjoy the Super Bowl this weekend. Guys, cannot wait for Tuesday's episode of Pigskin Frenzy. Enjoy your weekend. I'm Joel Norris signing off. We're praying for you all. We love you all. We'll see you Tuesday. As always, stay the course.